Hi, my name is Melissa van Dijk, and in today's video I'm going to show you how you can layer a vitamin C serum and hyaluronic acid serum. Now they can be used together daily in the morning and or evening, and it's great for all skin types. Now vitamin C primarily is a brightening ingredient, so it helps to improve surface hyperpigmentation. This can be dark spots, maybe sun damaged skin, this can be blotchiness or an uneven skin tone in general. It has some anti-aging benefits as well, so it helps to reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, repairs the skin, and it's a great antioxidant to fight free radicals. Then on the other hand, you have your hyaluronic acid, which primarily focuses on hydration and plumbing, and due to the plumbing it helps to improve, or let's say reduce, the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles too. So it's a great anti-aging benefit that it can give you as well. But with hyaluronic acid, those benefits are only temporary while using the product. And so when looking into an example skincare routine on how you can layer them, which one you should use first and how much you need to use of them, I have prepared for you an example morning and evening skincare routine in PowerPoint slides, which I want to at first cover, and then we are moving on to the demonstration, since I have a setup of a morning routine right here that I want to show you as a general guide so that you can see the application as well. But before we're getting started with the example skincare routines, there are a few points that I do want to emphasize. First of all, there are different serums of vitamin C. So you have your ascorbic acid serum, which is a pure form of vitamin C that you can get in different strengths, like 5, 10, 15, even 20 or even 30%, but the 20% would be more so the range of like a serum and below. And then you have your vitamin C derivatives, which do not include ascorbic acid itself, such as ascorbic glucoside, and those are usually more suitable if you have a sensitive skin type, because ascorbic acid can, if it has also a low pH, and depending on the strength of it, it can lead to stinging or burning. So please make sure that you understand the difference, that ascorbic acid can lead to sensitivity if you have already sensitive skin, but vitamin C derivatives are overall very gentle, and there you shouldn't have any issues, even though if they come in different strengths. And so this would be the first point that I want to cover, because now my next point will make a lot more sense, and this would be exfoliating acid cleanser. Now technically you can work with any cleanser that you want. This can be an exfoliating acid cleanser, this can be a gentle cleanser. However, if you're working with an ascorbic acid product, plus you have a real low pH cleanser that has a pH of about 3.5, and you're working with an ascorbic acid serum of 10, 15 or 20%, depending on the sensitivity of your skin, this combination can really lead to stinging or burning. So I highly recommend not doing this combination, especially if you're trying to do this for the first time. Get to know your skin and then you always can adjust it. But it is fine to work with mildly acidic cleansers. If they have a pH around 5, 5.5 or even maybe 4.5, then this shouldn't be a major issue, because it isn't as harsh on the skin when doing this combination. So for my example routines, I want to keep it as gentle as possible, so I kept my main focus on gentle skin cleanser, so that in case you want to recreate the routine, you're not going to burn your skin when doing the combination. And so I want to get started with my morning skincare routine, starting off with the first step, which can be washing your face with plain water, or if you're trying to remove any residue from the night before, you have excess oil or even sweat on the skin, I highly recommend working with a cleanser as well. That's working well for your skin type to remove it properly from the skin. Then rinse it off, pat the skin dry. Then the next step usually would be your vitamin C serum. Now if you have a water-based vitamin C serum, those are usually in a very lightweight water-like texture, and it is usually much thinner in texture than your hyaluronic acid serum. So in that specific case, you would use your vitamin C serum at first to apply to the skin, leave it on the skin, and then you're moving on to your hyaluronic acid serum and then apply to the skin, leave it on the skin. And then during daytime you would follow on with sun protection, which is extremely important, especially if you're battling hyperpigmentation. You want to get those anti-aging benefits, you do not want to make your fine lines and wrinkles worse, do not want to experience a sunburn, etc. So this would be an example morning skincare routine if you have a water-based vitamin C serum that has a thinner texture than your hyaluronic acid serum. However, if you should have a vitamin C serum that has a thicker texture or like an anhydrous solution or oil type texture of vitamin C serum, then please use it after your hyaluronic acid, because then this way you're making sure that the order of application and the layering based on the formulation works properly for you as well. And then there you have it. This would be an example of a morning skincare routine. Now, when looking into an evening skincare routine, it can look pretty much the same, just without the sunscreen step. So again, you are going to get started with your cleansing step, move on to your vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, and then there you have it. And if you really should feel the need, you could follow on with a moisturizer afterwards. Or again, if you have a different formulation of vitamin C or it has a thicker texture, then do the order of application the other way around. Now, if you have worn sunscreen and makeup throughout the day and your usual cleanser isn't able to properly remove it from the skin, I recommend doing a double cleanse using an oil or balm cleanser or even micellar water as your first cleansing step, and then you're moving on to your regular cleanser to make sure that everything comes properly off the skin, and then continue with the serums and maybe a moisturizer at the end. And so there you have an example of an evening skincare routine. If you find the example skincare routines helpful, you want to go over it in your own time, you want to get more skincare tips like about the cleansing step, the order of application, see a sunscreen guide and the products that I have chosen, you will find everything in the description box down below. Just click on the link, you can just watch it online. Again, like read it in your own time or even download it to your device. But now I want to keep my focus on the entire application. As already mentioned, I have an example right here of a morning skincare routine that I'm going to demonstrate so that you can see each step. And so first of all, we are starting off with the cleansing step. So I'm going to use Cetaphil's Daily Facial Cleanser as an example. It's great for combination to oily skin. If you have a different one, replace it. That's completely fine. Just make sure to read on the back of the packaging on how you can use your cleanser. It is advised to apply this cleanser on wet skin. So the first step that I'm going to do is now wetting my face, neck and hands with lukewarm water to warm water. Then I'm going to use about 1 to 2 pumps, which is more or less about a coin size amount of cleanser. Apply it to the palm of my hand, rub my hands together, and then I'm going to massage it all over my face and neck for about 30 seconds to a minute, and then I'm going to rinse it off again. In between, I like to work with a soft and fresh washcloth to make sure that any residue of cleanser, sunscreen and makeup comes properly off the skin, and then we're going to pat the skin dry. Now you can do the cleansing step above the sink or take the cleanser with you in the shower, that's completely fine, and then once you're done in the shower, you're going to continue with the rest of your skincare routine. So let's go ahead and do this. So I now removed like the main cleanser from the skin surface with only my hands. However, to make sure that like any residue that I still have like around my hairline, or if I now would have worn makeup and sunscreen, to make sure that this comes properly off the skin, I like to work with a soft and fresh washcloth in between. Those are those makeup cloths. Those are very gentle on the skin, and I'm now going to wet it and then gently swipe it across my face before rinsing it again with water. So now go ahead and take a fresh towel and remove the water drops from the skin surface. So once you're done with your cleansing step, you can immediately move on to the next step, which is going to be one of the serums. Now please remember that you should layer it from the thinnest to the thickest texture, and also based on the formulation. So if you have a vitamin C serum that has a much thinner texture than your hyaluronic acid serum, use your vitamin C at first if it is a water-based serum, and then move on to your hyaluronic acid serum. If you should have a vitamin C serum that's water-based and it has a similar texture to your hyaluronic acid serum, well then the order of application application can be either way. See what feels best for you. And I have one example right here. This would be the on-ascorbic glucoside with one of the hyaluronic acids. The texture is quite similar, so in that specific case I could turn it around either way. But with, for example, my Timeless or Geek and Gorgeous vitamin C serum, those have a very thin texture compared to my hyaluronic acid, therefore I would use them at first. If you should have a vitamin C serum that's in an oil or is an anhydrous solution, then please make sure to use it after your hyaluronic acid serum, because your hyaluronic acid serum is a water-based product. So you need to adjust the order of application based on the following products that you may have at home. So with this example, I'm going to go with Timeless 20% vitamin C serum. That one has a pump, so as a general guide, go with 1 to 2 pumps. If you have a vitamin C serum that has a thinner texture, go with like either 5 to 8 drops. If it has like a slightly thicker texture, go with 4 to 6 drops. Or if it has a much thicker, stickier texture, go with 2 to 3 drops. The general guide, you will find it again in my example skincare routines down below. And so now I'm going to go with 1 pump. This is enough for me to apply it over my face and neck evenly and thinly, so that the product can absorb into the skin and it won't leave a residue. Also, if you're working with a vitamin C product that has a higher percentage, such as I'm doing right here with a 20%, please make sure and be careful around the eye contour. Like technically you can work with your vitamin C on the eye contour, but if the percentage is quite high, the pH is quite low, and you're getting it too close to the actual like lower lash line where the skin starts to get very thin and more sensitive, this can lead to irritation. So please be careful to not get it too close to the actual lower lash line, and do not get it into your eyes, nor use it on top of your eyelids, and please do not get it into your mouth. If that should be the case, rinse it with water. And if you have sensitive areas, please avoid it, because then it can lead to stinging or burning. So, and once you're done with your first serum and you have applied it to the skin, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. And now you can move on to the next one. Again, this can be your hyaluronic acid or vitamin C, depending on the order you want to go with. Now, in this case, I'm going to now move on to my hyaluronic acid. I have different examples right here, and I'm going to use Vichy's Mineral 89 Hyaluronic Acid Booster. That one has, again, a pump, so you can go with 1 to 2 pumps. Now, I recommend starting off with 1 pump. If that shouldn't be enough, add a bit more to it. Now, if you have, again, a hyaluronic acid that comes with a pipette, then again, a general guide that I just mentioned earlier with the vitamin C would apply to hyaluronic acid as well. You need to adjust the amount. Still use enough to blend it evenly all over, but make sure that you're not going to use too much of it. The product should be able to absorb into the skin. If you're using too much of hyaluronic acid, it can lead to pilling when layering other products afterwards, such as, for example, your moisturizer in the evening or sunscreen during daytime. So please be careful with how much you use of your hyaluronic acid serum. And I blend it evenly all over. So, and again, once you're done with the application, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Now, you can stop right here if it is going to be your evening skincare routine. If this feels hydrating enough, well then stop right here. There's no need to follow with a moisturizer afterwards. However, if you have a drier skin type and you should feel the need, you can move on to your moisturizer in your evening skincare routine. Use about a bean size amount, apply it evenly all over, and then there you have it. Now I'm going to go with a morning skincare routine, so the next step would be sunscreen, which is really important. Apply 10 to 15 minutes before sun exposure. And you will find a specific sunscreen guide, again in my example skincare routines down below. Now I'm going to share with you now how much you need to use of it for your face, neck, and a bit of your décolletage as well as your ears, but the amount can be adjusted depending on the sunscreen that you may have, like the thickness of the sunscreen, maybe it's a fluid. So you should have enough to properly blend it evenly all over where skin from the top part right here is exposed to the sun. However, if you're ending up with too much product, then of course go ahead and reduce the amount, because there's no way that you're going to waste too much product. And so as an example, I'm going to use COSRX Aloe Soothing Sunscreen with SPF 50. That's one that I personally really like. And you should use, as a general guide, about half a teaspoon for your face and neck, including your ears. If you have like a lot of décolletage exposure, you need to use more of it, and then it would be about a teaspoon. So please make sure that you're going to adjust it. So I have a spoon right here, which is half a teaspoon, which I'm now going to fill. So about this more or less. And then evenly apply it all over. So, and once you have applied your sunscreen all over, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. And there you have an example of a morning skincare routine when working with your vitamin C and hyaluronic acid serum. Now, I do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you find it helpful, please don't forget to give the thumbs up as well as share it. And if you now want to learn more about skincare, I'm going to leave some of the videos at the end of this video so that you can keep on watching, but you will find more of them on my YouTube channel. Just make sure that you're going to search through the videos depending on what you're looking for. Now, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye.